Good morning. It's I got such a late start today that it's almost not morning. I think it's about 11, which is really late for me. So I have had this knife in and out of a sheath probably a couple hundred times since I bought it, you know? And you know what I noticed for the first time? It's bent. I put it in the vise and gave it a couple of tugs to see if I could maybe pull the bend out of it. But now I don't want to pull too hard. I mean, I could break it. So the bend seems like it's right up in here below the hilt. And so I have to decide how much of a loss in, value this would have versus the potential for breaking it. I don't know. And it took me a long time to notice. I mean, I've handled it, like I say, probably not a couple hundred times, but definitely 100 times I've had it, looking at it and seeing what I got to do to it. And for some reason, this looks parkerized. But I can tell it's an aftermarket thing because underneath the parkerizing, it has been destroyed. Somebody put it on a grinder and tried to sharpen it. So we'll see. I'm not at that point yet, and I'll decide what I want to do later on. I'm not to that point. I got a couple other knives I can work on and a couple of axes that I can pretty up. So let's go over here. And this knife, I'm going to work a little harder at getting some of the pock marks out of it. It's not looking too bad, but I started at 320. I'm going back to 220 to see if I could get this a little nicer. The handle's going to look brand new, and I'm going to see if I can make the blade look not brand new, but certainly far better than it is. And it's not that bad. I just want to make it look almost new. All right, let me get to work. So the last time I was in my, not the last time, probably a couple of months ago, I took this sander here and I sanded down the table on my belt grinder over here, my 2x42, and I put a heavy coat of wax on it. And you would not believe the rust. It is just so humid out here, nothing survives. So I got to start all over again, and I'm going to go out to my garage and get some car paste wax, some turtle wax. Who knows, that might do it. I don't know. But I'm at my wit's end. So what I wanted to mention is several YouTube channels have already talked about this. And, I'm not a news channel or anything like that, but it is something that we should keep in mind. And I don't, I'm not even going to be careful of my words. I'm just going to say it, and screw if YouTube doesn't like what I say, whatever. Hezbollah just had 1,200 pagers blow up. And, pagers have lithium batteries in them, and lithium batteries are notorious for being overcharged or overheated and causing, depending on the size of the battery, massive amounts of destruction. Where we used to live in Sibley, there was a kid that got one of them little, it's like a sideways skateboard that you stand with both feet this way and you tilt it forward to go forward and you tilt it back. Well, he had it charging inside of his house and it caught on fire, burst into flames. And fire department showed up. I mean, it was, a big deal. Well, anyway, lithium batteries, you've seen it happen in cars that have burnt houses down, the cars were in the garage and they charged the car and the car caught on fire. So it's quite common. And it got me to thinking. First thing I'm going to tell you it was a Canadian prepper. He said that obviously somebody has the technology to maybe make these things charge faster or drain and overheat the batteries and blow up while they're on a person, And then he said, do they have that technology for phones? And that's a good question. I carry this phone in this pocket, or if I'm wearing bib overalls, in my, bib pocket. And I have for, well, a couple of decades now. And yeah, that's something to consider. And another thing, I just went through this. The other day I was charging some 18650 batteries that I have for flashlights, because I like them. They last quite a while and they're really bright. It's an odd battery, but anyway, I was charging them all. About once a year I get them out and charge them. And I had one battery that got so hot it scared me. I unplugged the thing. Now, I did this outside because of that. I kind of worry about the batteries, overcharging and catching on fire. So I don't do it in my house. I do it on my front porch. But I store the batteries in my house, and I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to take them out of my house and stick them. I have an outdoor kitchen there with an upper and a lower cabinet, and I'm going to stick them in one of them cabinets. And, it's a metal roof, and if it catches on fire, I can have it out before it does any real damage. But that's a real concern now. I mean, if the technology is available to blow pagers up and really injure people, you got to imagine that the technology is there to do the same thing to cell phones or any other lithium battery you may have in your house. Which also got me to thinking about the lies that we are constantly subjected to. I don't want to make this like a big long talking video, because I just want to sand knives and kind of get past that in my brain, because I sure am sick of the bad news. They say that your phones listen to you, and Charlie and I, we have tested this so many times. And without a doubt, when we talk about something, we see ads for that very thing on whatever we're looking at, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. So I have absolutely no doubt that they can listen to our conversations. I don't think that there's an actual human listening, but I'm sure they have an algorithm, and when you say a word like, we need a new refrigerator, the next thing you know, you're seeing refrigerator ads, which is exactly what happened to me. And I was a little skeptic about that at first, years ago. And then Charlie and I were in Sam's, and I was talking to Charlie with my phone right here. And I have a little refrigerator here in my shop, a small refrigerator. I just keep water in it and sometimes Mountain Dew. I said, and it's really dirty and old and nasty, and it's just beyond cleaning. I don't even want to attempt it. I said, I'm going to go down here and look at refrigerators and see what they get for their little apartment-sized refrigerators. And immediately, I get a coupon on my phone for Sam's, about like 10% off on apartment-sized refrigerators. I am not joking. So then I started paying attention, and we started doing experiments, like talking about garden hoses. I have a hole in my garden hose. It's time I get a new garden hose. I really need a new garden hose. I wish I had a coupon for a garden hose. And sure enough, Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, next thing you know, you're starting to get advertisements for garden hoses. So I have no doubt in my mind that these phones listen to our conversations. Again, not a human, but I also have no doubt that if you were to use certain words in combination with each other, let's just say you would use certain words that would endanger a political figure. I'm sure they go to a human that tries to put together what you said. You know what I mean? I don't want to be too specific, and I don't want to use those words. But they also say, and at first they denied it, and then they had to admit it because people found the microphones in TVs. I'm looking up here because my wife is up there, and the dog, I have one dog here and one dog. You just got to be conscious of where your dogs are at. I have my pistol here, but our neighbor behind me has had calves killed from stray dogs. And I do have my yard fenced in pretty tight, but a what do you call it? Determined dog could get in here or jump the fence or something like that. And I don't want my little babies to be hurt. And that's another thing, speaking of babies. The cat, I'm going to include, the very next clip will be the cat. I was just feeding the cat, and I had my camera on her, and she was eating these. I have these little treats I give her to keep her away from my hands while I'm dishing out her food, because I used to have scars on my hand. That cat, I call her Murder Cat for a reason. Now, I love her, and I'm going to keep feeding her until she's not here anymore. But she is absolutely feral, and she gets a little hungry, and she jumps down there, and she wants your hands out of the way, and she will pop you, and I got scars from her. And now that I'm on Entyvio, I can't risk getting infections or anything like that, because it weakens your immune system. Entyvio does, and leaves you real vulnerable to stuff like cat scratches. So anyway, I was feeding the cat, and she stopped eating. She snapped her head up and was looking in the woods, which are back here. You know, I feed roof cat. I feed her up here, Murder Cat, on the roof, and she was looking towards the woods behind me here, where my fence goes, the one I just put up. And I looked at her, and I looked at where she was looking, and sure enough, there was a fox down there. And I watched this video several times, and I realized that when the cat snapped her head up, seconds before, the crows were sounding the alarm. So, man, it's amazing how connected these animals are. The cat heard the crows sounding the alarm. Watch the video. You may have to go through it a couple times. But watch it. When the crows started sounding the alarm, the cat snapped her head up. And when the cat snapped her head up, I looked where she was looking. Sure enough, there was a fox there. Very interesting. Anyway, I'm going to finish this last little piece of 220, and then I'm going to move up to 320, and I'm going to hit it with some 400, and then we're going to go in there and buff and see how beautimous we can make this old, very old knife. And I forget the model number on here, but I'll show you before this is over. Okay, let me shut you off. I don't want to bore you to tears, so we'll see you. Boy, she's ever alert. I don't know what's going on out there that she's looking at. Oh, a fox. Boy. Yeah, right there. Nope, it went behind that little stump. You can't see it. Yep, maybe you caught a flash of it. Huh. Man, you are good. Eagle eyes. All right. I've got the handle all sanded down, right? What is that? I may hit that with some sandpaper. Got the blade sanded. That took some doing. This is already hardened steel. So I'm gonna hit that one little spot with some sandpaper, and then we're gonna go buff this. Holy crap. Boy, did that come out nice. I'm really surprised. Look at that beauty. Now this is an F39. F39. There are, you know, some micro pock marks, but I did a pretty good job. You know, I'm not trying to make these look brand new, but I'm trying to make these look like something somebody would wear on their hip and use. This is incredibly surgically sharp. This is some really good steel here. Oh, I think it's a Western. Did I say that? Yeah, Western F39. And I'm not sure how old it is, to be honest. I had figured out all of these, but it's been a while. So that's what we're looking like. This is all fingerprints up here, but it's very shiny. I just put wax on it, and I got wax on my fingers, so But yeah, that's just beautiful. And it goes in this sheath. And now I'm gonna go to the leather shop and clean this sheath up really, really good. It's got, all the sewing is good. It's in really good shape. So let me go clean that up, and this will be ready to go. If you want this, I'd take $100 and all you know, $100 including shipping if you want it. And that's I think I gave like 80 bucks for it, you know. I got a little, you know, when you're bidding on stuff, it's sort of like gambling, which is why I don't gamble, because you can sure get caught up in, and then, you know, eBay is really, it's sort of like gambling. You get the same, I'm going to win, the next bid, I'll win the next bid, and this is it, this is my cutoff, I'm not going to bid anymore, and then you bid a little more, because that one's going to be the one. It's just like gambling. So, I think I'm into this about 80 bucks, and it's going to cost me 12 or 13 bucks to ship it, so $100 if anybody wants it. It's in really good shape, it's incredibly sharp, and this has got another 50 or 60 years in it. Very good steel. Hard. It's a very hard steel. And I don't know what... It's, you know, some kind of high carbon steel. But I couldn't tell you what. Alright, let me go work on that sheath a little bit. Okay, I was going to go into the leather shop and work on sheaths, but I'm not. I'm filthy. I'm covered in this polishing compound, so I'm going to do some more dirty work, and then tomorrow is a shopping day. Today was supposed to be a shopping day, but tomorrow is when they're having the big sales, and we're having major sales on meat, and they have like a limit of 2 per person. So I go in with my wife, and she buys 2 and I buy 2, because there's going to be a time when meat's going to be so high we won't be able to afford it. All right, I just sanded and polished and made this look all beauty miss. And this is, I've never heard of it. It's a Ranger. Let me get a real close up of this. Ranger. Let me see if I can. I don't know what that is. Okay, the patent number, made in USA, patent number 1967479er. Right? Yeah. 1967479. Nothing on the other side, no model numbers or anything. It's a cute little knife. And it goes with this sheath here. It's got a little hole in there, and I need to re-sew this. I'm probably going to end up re-sewing the whole thing, because there is no really safe means of partially re-sewing. Anyway, so when I come back out here, I'll work on sheaths, because it's cleaner. You know, I don't get filthy. I get my dye on my hands, and that's about it. So there's 2, and I'm working on another one that looks like, well, it looks like this, but it's not exactly like this or that. This is an F39 also, but the weird thing is, this has the F39 stamped on the little aluminum, what do you call it, tang, I guess? And this has it right here, stamped in the steel. Not in the tang. Probably using the wrong word. Since I had my surgery, I spent a lot of time under anesthesia. And when I came out, I noticed that I do have a hard time. I mix up my words, you know, I forget what words go with what thing, you know, and it didn't start happening until after I had all my surgeries. So, you know, there's this thing they call anesthesia brain. And, you know, they were supposed to fix a hernia that I have here, and they didn't, because I had already been under for 8 hours, and they didn't want to keep me under any longer. I guess there's a danger in that. Oh, anyway, so there's 2. I'm working on a 3rd one. This one has no sheath, but before the day is out, I will have this all polished up and shiny, and I might work on that next one. That way I'll have 4 done, 2 with sheaths and 2 that will need sheaths. It's going to look nice when I'm done with it. And what is that? I don't know. Let me turn this over. F66. So, let me get to sanding. All right, this is sanded as much as I'm going to sand it. It's got some little pits down there, some on this end, but I think I can make it pretty. This had a whole bunch of dings and dents in it, and I've got them all sanded out. So now we go into the buffer. We'll show you what it looks like when we get back. And there it is. Oh, I forgot to put the edge on that. I'm gonna go back and do that. All the ones that I'm finishing up here have got edges on them. So I'm gonna go do that, but there we go. Okay, and what was that? An F what? Jeez. Come on, Brad. I can't see. 66, okay. F66. I'm gonna go put the edge on it and this one will be done. And then I don't know if I got, my hands are killing me. And this is gonna take a whole lot of sanding, so I don't think I'm gonna do that today. And I also think that since these handles are very similar, that these are a matched pair. I just looked it up on eBay, and they come with their own sheath for this. This is not the sheath that goes with this. I don't know where that came from, but very shiny. So that'll shine up just beautiful. And put it with another beautiful knife like that, and I'll have something. So, gonna put the edge on this, and that's it for me today. Have a good Wednesday, y'all.